AKR Magazine. It's good to see you.
Thank you. It's good to see you, Peter.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Always a pleasure.
I appreciate it. It's cool.
Yeah.
We got a nice guest today.
We
got
do.
A really
I'm
cool
very
guest.
excited.
And I'll tell you,
I got to hear him play at your backyard improv.
You did.
I did.
And I
asked you about him.
Okay, she did. Dude. Okay, see, we're building up here. We're building up.
And here he is.
And there, yes, he is.
Nothing like a drummer. Oh, did I spill the beans?
A little bit. When I think about it, I see some beans that are spilled on the floor.
Just a few.
I'm gonna wake up in the middle of the night without socks, step on them, and it's like stubbing your toe in the middle of the night, right?
Refried beans.
It's Mr. Chris Ruiz.
It got real.
Yeah, what's up? The drummer.
Yeah.
Mr. Chris Ruiz. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing all right. It's good to be here.
Good.
So, all those musical genres combined to create.
I hear that in the way that he plays the drums.
Yeah, and I was going to say
That's
that.
real talk. I hear that.
Definitely. Yeah, I was going to say, how would you describe your sound? Is it a fusion of all of those different influences? Yeah.
I mean, Latin percussion with my dad, into marching symphonic orchestra, into jazz in high school, and then that evolved little by little into heavy metal.
Yeah.
Into classic rock, hard rock, alt rock, and then heavy metal blew up.
I felt like you had a lot of dimension when I was here. I was sitting really close to you as well, but I had to get a good look, and I'm like, who is on the drum?
As far as the caliber of musicians that go through the improv, it's like I got a little work.
You're talking about our scene. You're talking about our scene, right?
Yeah, I got some work to do, and I would love.
You got work to do. You have no freaking work to do.
Yeah, no.
But
I don't
it
think
is
so either. But
bass is a different animal.
Who?
Playing bass is a different animal.
It's a foundation. You're talking about his reference.
Yeah,
I thought you were talking about drums.
It's a foundation instrument, and if you stop playing, everyone knows this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Or if you flub.
Yeah.
And
well, especially if you're hanging out with Ryan Price or something.
Oh yeah. I think Ryan was if not the first, at least the second bass player I saw on the jazz improv, which was like, oh man, this is the kind of caliber you're gonna bring, then I want to be a part of this. You know?
All right, well, so tell me about it. So from your perspective, just to finish up, you ended up correcting me and saying, no, I'm talking about playing the drums. Mm-hmm. And then you quickly came into the warehouse. Thank you, Claudia Wentworth. I think that's the first one.
Yeah, playing was the warehouse, and it was just kind of intimidating. Mm. And I did a lot of prep work as far as how I wanted my drums to sound, because I knew I wanted to just deliver on par with what I saw previously. Because the caliber of musicians you bring in is just insane. Yeah, honestly, just the best of the best, not just in the Bay Area, but I would say on a global scale. Like I've seen a lot of touring acts. I've seen so many groups coming in and out of the Bay Area, being from the area. It's just a music mecca, right?
Yeah.
Growing up.
And what a mix as well.
Yeah, exactly. So to see the caliber you're bringing in was just like, damn, this is hot.
That's
This is the
You
place
know what?
to be.
He fits in perfectly.
he does.
Man, does he not.
As you like, what is your what is your creative, like, how do you get your ideas and how do you practice and like how do you create?
All in my head.
Okay,
honestly.
really?
Even as a kid, like a lot of people will say, like, I started practicing to Def Leppard or whatever. And that people assume that I listened to Def Leppard, which I really didn't. But all in my head, even as a child, like I had songs in my head and I would just play along to it. And when I was learning drum kit, especially, I didn't have access to it until I was, I think, 15, until I got my first actual drum kit. So a lot of the practice happened in my head. And then I would figure the parts out, figure out what it took to get my limbs to do that. And then by the time I sat behind the kit, it was like, all right, let's apply the practice, apply the knowledge. And to this day, I still practice that way. Even though I have a drum kit set up at home, I rarely ever use it unless I'm going to film something or, I'm getting ready for a specific, studio session that I'll play. These are the drum fills I want to try and see which one works best in the song.
Wow.
But other than that, it's all in my head.
Don't you think that's amazing? I mean, that's the power of imagination.
Yeah.
The power of the mind, the power of imagination, that you can actually create in your head and then follow it on a physical level, because the drumming is so physical as well.
Very much so,
yeah.
We burn a lot of calories.
Yeah.
I recently found out we can burn anywhere from 500 to 2,000 calories in an hour.
Okay, and so that aspect of it, the physicality of drumming, what is that like for you?
Depends on the band I'm playing with, but it's
Okay.
always going to be high energy. I try to
I
deliver
noticed
as
that
much
for
energy
sure.
as possible. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter who I'm behind. Even if I'm playing as softly as possible, I try to bring as much energy into the room as I can.
And what about that as an experience for you as an artist? Obviously, we are experiencing our music, we're experiencing the audience. It's a multi-dimensional experience.
Oh,
so
yeah.
as the artist, as the drummer, what is that physical experience like for you?
It can be emotional at times.
Yeah.
Especially in my very first improv show, like I was a wreck afterwards. The emotional experience of it was just huge for me because all the prep work that I put into it.
Exactly.
I completely refaced my drums that weren't ready until like 2 days before, and that was like a very stressful moment for me. They went from a black veneer shell into a hazy whitewash that they are now. And a lot of that was my transition of exiting, just being in the back. As a drummer, you're often in the back.
Exactly.
The stage lights are so poor in most of the places we play that I'm just in the back and I'm in the dark. And I didn't want to be that anymore. So this was very much a statement of just like, here I am, and this is what's going to happen from now on. I'll be seen, I'll be heard, and transition that into my future career. All right, let's represent me, and through that, we'll represent my bands as well.